Our next guest is Jessie VanderVeen. She's a VP of Marketing and Communications at Tempo. And Tempo is a fast-growing business-to-business software developer in Reykjavik that has been successful in offering solutions to Jira, the product management platform that so many of you know, to companies such as Amazon, Disney, Starbucks, and NASA, on scaling the Intrapreneurship Internationally to Iceland. Jessie VanderVeen. Yes, I think you...
Just use this one?
Yes.
Great.
Straightforward.
Yeah, great. Hi, everyone. I think this goes back. Hi, everyone. I first came to Iceland 23 years ago. It was 1993, and I was 17 years old. I was a high school student, waitressing on the side and saving up my money to buy a plane ticket to Iceland. I was obsessed with the sugar cubes as a teenager, and I wanted to come to this country to see this country that created this awesomely bizarre music. And I never would have imagined that someday, more than a decade later, I'd actually be living here, married to an Icelander. I'd have two beautiful half Icelandic children, and I'd be helping to build a company internationally from here. But life is really weird, and here I am. I'm here to share our story, Tempo's story, with you. Our story is one of entrepreneurship, which is a little bit different than your standard startup entrepreneurship. There's some similarities, but there's also some differences, which I'll share with you. A little bit of background about myself. I'm from the US originally. I grew up in Philadelphia area in upstate New York, and I lived in New York City for about a decade before I moved here. I started my career working in engineering and R&D, got my master's degree in leadership and policy. I've always been really interested in leadership and what makes good leaders. It's not always extroverts. And I got my law degree, practiced law in New York for a while at a big firm, focused on M&A, securities law, and transactional work. And then when I moved to Iceland, it was after the collapse. I did some consulting with the winding up, and then I just wanted to shift gears and do something else. I've always been really interested in tech. I come from an engineering family. Some of my best memories growing up were spending time with my dad building games for our Commodore 64. And I'm married to a tech person, and it just seemed like a natural progression for me, and it's been a good fit so far. I started working at Tempo in its infancy. I was the first non-dev, non-tech hire on the team, and I've grown with the team over the years. I now head marketing, communications, and legal, and I serve on the management team as well. So what is Tempo? What do? We are a B2B software solution provider. We're headquartered in Reykjavik. We have an office in Montreal, and we build solutions for Atlassian's Jira platform. Jira, it's a project and task management platform, and Atlassian is really focused on building solutions for teams and empowering teams and helping teams to organize, discuss, and complete work. So they have a number of solutions you may be familiar with, like Bitbucket, Confluence, and HipChat. And our solutions, they extend Jira. So they help teams and businesses to gain better visibilities over their work initiatives, to to be strategically aligned and to make better decisions. And we have 3 products right now. Our flagship product is called Tempo Timesheets. It's for time tracking and reporting. It was launched in May of 2009. Our second product is Tempo Planner. It's for resource planning and management for teams and projects and higher level initiatives. We have a third product which is more for the financial side. It's called Tempo Folio for project and portfolio financial management. And we offer a number of deployment options. We're working in the cloud or SaaS. We offer server options. We have enterprise level licensing. And last year, we also launched a mobile app, which is really end-user focused. And we have a lot of R&D we're working on in the pipeline, so new product development going on. Atlassian is a pretty big company. It's been around since 2002. Their co-founders launched an early iteration of Jira right out of college because they didn't want to get traditional 9-to-5 jobs. Who does? And they've grown quite a bit over the years. Jira now has about 35,000 customers, and Atlassian has about 50,000 customers in total. And they've really been leveraging their partner network, building strong partnerships around the world that help them, particularly with their enterprise sales these days. They've been growing quite substantially year over year, and we've been kind of growing in tandem with their growth. And last year, they went public in the States. They had one of the most successful tech IPOs in 2015. So they raised quite a bit of money, and they're focusing quite a bit on growth and R&D as well. One of the interesting things about Atlassian, which has helped us to grow and helped them to grow, is they have a really efficient sales model. It's called Flywheel. So they basically take the traditional enterprise software sales model and kind of flip it on its head. So instead of investing a lot of money in hiring really expensive salespeople up front, they take their money and they focus it on R&D and building a really good product with a product market fit, focusing on lean customer acquisition. Traditionally, they've been kind of using this land and expand strategy. So they're targeting development teams primarily, starting with the development teams, which can be any company in the world that's building software. So that's tens of thousands of companies worldwide. And then they build, the whole company is basically a stakeholder in growth and really focusing on building customer loyalty by improving the product, listening to customer feedback, building customer advocacy, and then trying to kind of encourage other teams in a business to start adopting their tools and adopting other tools. So this was how our business started to use Jira back in the days. It's a really efficient sales model, and as they've grown, they've been able to leverage their partners, and we've done the same to help with the enterprise level, mid-level and enterprise level sales. So it doesn't require a lot of risk or money up front. So our structure is an entrepreneurial structure. Back in the day, we used to be part of TM Software. It was our sister company. And we're a subsidiary of a company called Nýsköpunarmiðstöð, which is it's a publicly traded IT company in Iceland. They're listed on the Scandinavian NASDAQ. Back in 2006, TM Software adopted Jira, and their development team started using Jira. They're working with customers. They build custom web solutions, primarily in the Icelandic market. And their developers were working in Jira, but then they were tracking their time in a third-party tool. And it was just really inefficient. It was a big hassle. It could lead to potential inaccuracies because they had to sync up the data. And so the managing director of TM Software at the time approved an initiative to build this integrated time tracking solution in Jira. So it really started off as a homegrown solution that was launched internally in 2008. And this was sort of around the time of the economic cool down or major financial collapse in Iceland. And so that sort of kind of helped to propel some of the decision making involved. There was a lot of opportunity internationally in the market. There weren't really add-ons for Atlassian products at that point. The add-ons that existed were more custom tailored solutions for customers. So Atlassian was really interested in building up their own ecosystem and kind of encouraging us to launch products for Jira and for other products, Atlassian products as well. So we launched our flagship product in May of 2009. And so we were able to kind of carve out a niche in the market and establish a really early relationship with Atlassian, which has been very valuable to us over the years. And we started off selling everything, our initial product on our own website. Atlassian was selling our product on their website. But one of the pivotal factors for our growth came in 2012. There were two things that year. One was that we launched our first cloud solution, and Atlassian launched their marketplace in June of 2012. And so what the marketplace did was it provided a central resource for developers like ourselves to develop products, add-ons for Atlassian products, to help promote those products, and then to help sell the products as well. So I actually remember the days before we transitioned all of our sales over to the marketplace and everything became really automated. I was spending about 75% of my day generating invoices and license keys for customers and answering sales support questions. And it just wasn't a really efficient use of our time. And being able to migrate that over to the marketplace helped us to really promote and sell the products. And so the question was sort of, where do we go from here? Do we stay within this channel or do we extend beyond it? At that point, we had this close relationship that we had established with Atlassian, and we saw a lot of growth opportunity. We saw that we were getting a lot of feedback from Jira customers. So it was like kind of market research and user research. People were asking for different types of solutions that also weren't on the market. So we decided to continue building within this channel, and we've been able to do that successfully. So we've grown in products in this ecosystem. We grew in terms of revenue. The first year we made less than $200,000. Last year we came in under about 10 million, and this year we're continuing to see some record sales growth so far this year. We're a bootstrap team, so we haven't taken in external funding. And since the marketplace launched, we've been one of the largest, top-selling and award-winning vendors in the marketplace. We've grown in terms of people also. We've grown from 3 people in 2007 to about 80 today. So we have distributed teams. We're mostly in Reykjavik. We have a team that we're growing in Montreal, and we have some distributed team members around the world also. And we're working with about 100 partners worldwide. Some of them are actually starting to build their own products that integrate with our products, which is really cool. So we're kind of seeing our own ecosystem within the ecosystem evolve, which has been pretty fun. This is a photo of our team from the last 4 years. We don't have one yet this year. And this photo will never die. I will show this photo whenever I can. This is from, Atlassian has an annual user conference called Atlassian Summit in San Francisco. This was from 2011. Our team members dressed up like superheroes to present our products, as one does. And so I will show this photo whenever I can. We've grown in terms of customers. We have about 8,500 customers now. We count our customers above the 10-user license tier. So we have 10 user licenses going up to 10,000 plus unlimited user licenses. So we're working with small teams, and we're also working with large-scale distributed enterprise licenses in Fortune 500. 99% of our customer base is outside of Iceland at this point. 1% is here, and about 75% is in North America, primarily in the US. And as we've grown, we've been giving back, and that's been something that's been really important to us. We launched a starter license program in 2010 and partnered with Room to Read, which is a nonprofit that was started by a former Microsoft executive. It's a nonprofit that's aimed at empowering children and increasing literacy and gender equality in the developing world. So they do that by building libraries. They've built like 20,000 libraries in 2,000 schools. And they work with local artists and storytellers to create books in local languages. So our starter licenses are like $10, 10-user licenses. We donate all the proceeds, which is like $7. But over the years, we've donated over $75,000, which has impacted about 1,500 children with 1 year of education. So something that we've been really proud of and is really, really important to us. So what are some of the lessons that we've learned growing? We've scaled pretty quickly in the last year. We went from 8 to 80, so we've multiplied quite a bit. Scaling has been very hard. It's been rather difficult also in Iceland. For us, because we are, very international facing. One of the things that we've realized is that you really need to be thinking about all the core aspects of your business and reassessing it as you grow. Thinking about some of the things that are working and thinking about some of the things that really aren't working, and trying to think as proactively as you can. It's always hard when you're starting off and you're a bunch of generalists. You're wearing so many hats and spinning so many plates, and there's only so many things that you can do. So you're always running into sticky situations and challenges, but it's really important to try to think proactively as much as you can. When we were starting off as a family, we were basically a team sitting in a room in the Nýsköpunarmiðstöð building. We had a lot of support from our parent company because we had an office space, we had operational support, we had HR support, we had accounting support. So really what we were focusing on at this point was really validating our product. We knew that we had solved a problem for ourselves, and we knew that we had solved a problem for some Icelandic companies. But what we didn't know is whether this was a solution that would really scale internationally, which is where the primary market was for us. So really what it meant was like trying to get as much feedback as possible and just talking to as many people as possible. So we would go to user conferences and just talk to people. We try to get as much feedback from our customers as possible and really incorporate that feedback into our product and improve it as much as possible. And at this point, we were really just a team of generalists. Everybody was wearing a lot of hats. We needed people who were super flexible and just willing to do whatever it took to get stuff done. Like QA was writing documentation, marketing is answering support questions, everyone's fighting on the phone with DHL, trying to track down packages, like whatever it takes to get done, you just do it. Communication shouldn't be a problem here. For me, it was a bit of an issue because I was the first foreigner on the team, and when I joined, everything was in Icelandic. And unfortunately, I don't speak fluent Icelandic yet. I'm working on it. But I didn't know what was going on. The only things that were in English were our website and our documentation pages. And I would find out that there was a product release afterward that needed to be promoted. And that's not really exactly how go-to-market strategy works. So we've improved and finessed the process quite a bit over the years. But there's definitely been pain points along the way. And as we were growing, we kind of moved to validating the product and having a product, having the ability to release products to being able to engage with customers. So that's when we started to bring in some of the specialist roles, like with marketing and content writing, support, technical writing. And as we've grown, we're sort of entering more into the village territory, and this is where things have really started to get hairy. This is where kind of process and communication starts to break down, and you have multiple teams, many teams. Team initiatives can become really siloed, and so you really need to have people who are kind of leading the initiatives and on the management team leading initiatives and really making sure that the vision and the initiatives are aligned and people are being communicated to. It gets really tricky. Processes become really important. Like some things that didn't seem to be a big issue initially become a big issue, like how do vacation policies work at this company now? How does everybody log their vacation time? When you're sitting in a room and you're just all there, you just tell people, you're going on vacation. But as you're a bigger company, that becomes tricky. And now we're also moving towards the need to hire some critical specialists, cloud architects, senior cloud architects, and other roles. And it's hard to find some of that talent here in Iceland. So it raises an issue. Do we outsource some of this stuff? That can raise some additional challenges. Do we bring people into the country? Do we expand our operations overseas? We've done a little bit of all of these things, but we haven't really committed to any of them. But this is where it becomes really tricky because we just don't have time to train people into roles, and we sort of need people who are specialists who can kind of take the ball and run. Some considerations about the entrepreneurial model. I think entrepreneurship is really exciting, and there's a lot of opportunities. You see a lot of examples with like bigger companies like Amazon and Google, Facebook. They have these entrepreneurial initiatives. It can really start anywhere, and you don't have as much risk up front necessarily because you're not out raising a couple $1 million. There's a couple founders or 3 founders, and sort of everything is on the line. Like you're in do or die mode, and you will do whatever it takes to make your business succeed. With entrepreneurship, you have less risk up front generally, but you also need to have kind of incentives to take your initiative to the next level and to really make sure that you're taking their product to market as quickly as possible. And so you really need to think about the risk and reward structure there. You might have some issues with autonomy and decision making. It just depends on your business and your business structure. But if you have to go through layers of decision making and bureaucracy to kind of get decisions made, then that can slow you down. And being able to make quick decisions is really important in this business. And also making quality decisions is really important. So you need to be able to have the people who really understand the initiative and understand the potential and the opportunities to be involved with the decision-making process. Culture can be an issue too. Culture has been a bit of an issue for us, simply because our core business is really focused in Iceland and in the Nordics. And our business, Tempo's business, is really focused internationally and primarily in the North American market. And the culture is just different. Communication tends to be different. The way that people network is a little bit different. Establishing business relationships is a little bit different. So you sort of need to be able to understand how that works and have people who can help you kind of navigate through that. Atlassian has built a really strong company culture with really strong values. So we've kind of used that to help us kind of guide us into this market, but it's something to think about. Another takeaway that we've had is that continued focus on innovation is really important because that helps you grow. And the main takeaway is just that good ideas can come from anywhere. So think about the types of ways that you can encourage people to give ideas and their feedbacks. I think innovation days are pretty common here in Iceland, but there's other things that you can do. You can allow people to spend 20% of their time working in innovation, just to be able to give their feedback and provide ideas openly. And this is where diversity is really important as well. Really encouraging people and getting people on your team who represent a lot of different kinds of backgrounds and sets of experiences, because those are the people who really help you to challenge your assumptions and your modes of thinking and kind of help you to think outside of the box, and that's what really helps you to innovate. And the final takeaway that I would have, this is the most important thing to me at least, I think, is has to do with teams and culture. And I think this is something that really needs to start at day one. And it seems kind of counterintuitive because when you're like 2 or 3 people and you're sitting at the table and everyone sort of gets along and you're all on the same page, you don't really have as friction. But it's something to think about, I think, early on, like what kind of business and culture do you really want to be building? What kinds of values do you want to be embracing? What kinds of behaviors do you want to be encouraging? What kinds of things do you want to celebrate, or what kinds of things do you conversely not want to celebrate? And so kind of thinking about the values early on and revisiting them as you go along is really important, and kind of incorporating these values into your policies and processes as well. Like when you're hiring, what kinds of questions do you ask people? Or when you have a review process, what kinds of things are you talking about? Because as you grow, like if you're in a situation where you're in hypergrowth, it's really hard to stop and think about it. And it also helps to guide you through some of the difficult decisions that you may need to make with your business as you grow. But I think the most important takeaway is that your teams are the most important part of your business. And so without strong teams, you will not grow. So it really starts with, having revenue targets and growth targets is really important, but having strong teams is really important as well. And so thinking about how you can foster your teams and nurture a positive team environment where people feel open to giving their feedback and their ideas. And that requires a lot of vulnerability, like among managers, and fostering openness to vulnerability among your teams as well. Because the idea is that if people hold back on ideas because they feel like they're afraid of challenging the status quo, healthy conflict is good, I think, and something that should be encouraged. But if people are holding back because they're afraid of being wrong or they're afraid of being belittled, then that prevents the kinds of risks that are necessary to innovate. And so the idea is that shame can lead to fear, fear can lead to risk aversion, and risk aversion can kill growth and innovation. So think about starting off with building a strong culture and building strong teams. Thank you.